Hello, it's me, Abby, again. So, in my previous episode, I did talk about how difficult the times are and how hard it is for people, especially those of us who are dealing with chronic illness or disabilities, and just the whole thing of well-being, and on top of everything, trying to live and trying to manage each day. So, and at the moment, it's about how the world is dealing with what's going on, because lately it feels like caring has become something people perform, caring in general. And I don't know if we are always honest about the difference between caring and being seen to care, because there is a difference. And for me, I've always seen this, even in when I was at work, when people talk about equality and diversity versus the being seen to do it. And sometimes when you're trying so hard, when you're trying to be seen to be doing something, then it means it's not properly done, and it's not coming from the point of you wanting to do it, but you're just doing it performatively. And when it comes to caring, then it becomes difficult, because it means you are not really caring for people that you sort of make talk of as if you are caring for them. So there's an assumption that we all have the same emotional bandwidth. We don't. Some of us are already at capacity before the world even adds more. And so I've started to think differently about silence. Not absence, not as apathy, but sometimes as refusal or protection. We tend to think if someone does not respond. I know this is a very difficult subject to talk about. 2 years ago, or maybe, yes, 2 years ago, I would see people, activists, even academics, really losing friends because they were being accused of anti-Semitism when they pointed to the way people were dying and starving in Gaza. And I think there was a lot of there was likely to be different reactions. Some people chose to respond silently. Some people chose to go all guns blazing because they just could not see any other way. And some people decided to do nothing. But when we talk about care, we do not normally wouldn't talk about care in abstract, like, okay, I do care for people who are starving in Sudan, but not the ones in Gaza. That's not what we do. And so many people would come on TV, politicians, influencers, talking about the death of children, the murder of children, the murder of the elderly, the murder of people like me. Because I always, whenever there's anything like that, I always think, what would happen to me if there's a war here? I'll be the last person, because I cannot move on my own and I cannot do anything. I would have to rely on other people. I rely on medication. So it means if there's any disturbance in the system, I would die from the illness because I won't have medication. I rely on electricity, I rely on so many things, and if anything happens, it means I am one of those people who would go. Meanwhile, some people make it as if only the death of certain groups of people, only the suffering of certain groups of people, only the existence of certain people actually matter. And for others, it doesn't, which is a very difficult pill to swallow, especially from the caring perspective. Because if you care about humanity, if you care about life, if you care about God's creation, because whichever you look at it, we are on this planet Earth on equal. No one has the entitlement over another group on this earth. We were created, if you believe in creation, by God in His image. Whether black or brown or whatever, we have the same features. The only thing that differs could be maybe hair or color or whatever, but we are human beings. So on that alone, no one has the right to say this group does not deserve to live. This group must be completely destroyed. This group has the right to live, or this group really should be the one doing ABCD. So I have seen different types of care. The ones that care only for their group and nobody else matters. And then the ones that actually say, well, if your group matter as much as you think it does, so how come you think this one does not have the right to exist or deserve to be starved or deserve to lose their land? I just do not understand. I do not like to get political, but some of these things, they are very much fresh, especially for some of us who come from originally from countries where independence has not been that far along. So you know how it feels to have someone come into your land, accuse you of A, B, C, D, and then destroy your land and take it over. I was born in Zimbabwe, and I would say when I was born, it would have been Southern Rhodesia. So I didn't see the war because I was born towards the end of that decade before we got independent. So I didn't witness the war. But from what I've heard from my parents, from relatives, from reading or knowing my history, it is very difficult and disturbing to have people coming into your land and just make you get cramps while the actual meat goes to the stranger or to the foreigner. It is very unfortunate, and it is disturbing. And okay, there were the days of the British Empire, which obviously crumbled slowly up until, like my country, for example, got its independence. We were not the first one to get independence from the British. And I guess when we did, it felt good for the locals. It felt good for the people of that land. It felt good that people were starting to feel like they can breathe, they can enjoy whatever God gave them. The fruits of their country, the minerals, there's a freedom of just going from point A to point B without someone saying, sorry, this is only for this group of people, or seeing men in guns and police dogs or whatever stopping you from crossing over. I've heard stories from my mom about how you needed a pass to go to Salisbury, then Harare, modern day Harare. You needed a pass to go there. And those who were working in farms and the sort of white settlers, they would need you need just some sort of card or permission, written permission from the person who you were working for, to say, yes, I've allowed this person to go to Salisbury or to visit their relatives in another part of the country. And if you didn't have this, you were in trouble. So when I look at it in 2026, and I see countries who are still in that position where their wealth, okay, never mind their wealth, their houses, their homes, their children, their elderly family members, their history being wiped out. To me, it's just one of those things that I cannot believe is still happening. Because I said I didn't witness it happening, but I could see the consequences and how long it has taken for people. And some of people in my country have not even got there. They just been in those areas where the white settlers, because they were taking the rich land for themselves, they were taking the parts which were quite fertile and sending the indigenous people or people of my tribe and the disabilities to very dry areas where whatever you plant does not come to anything, because they were just like arid parts of the country. So and there are people who are still living there, because even after independence they didn't get to move. They are still living there, and their life is still more or less maybe a little improvement, because now they can visit relatives, they can even have children who've gone to university and all that. But they, in terms of the place, it has not changed much because of the condition. But now if I look in 2026 and I see countries that are being wiped, countries that are libraries, countries that are universities, countries that are all the sort of infrastructure, historical, and even just new buildings being destroyed to nothing. I just think, but why? Why do we have to do this in 2026 or 2025? Why do we have to do this? What is this? What are these wars for that would cause another country to go in and go after every building, infrastructure, roads, hospitals, houses, and what is this for? Because because even when I'm talking about my country, when it was Southern Rhodesia, without people being independent and having some form of independence, they at least could see, these are buildings in Harare, I can go to hospitals, or to hospital, or I can, people were educated. University of Zimbabwe was thriving. People even had people went to university. I went to a university which actually was considered one of the best in Southern Africa, and it existed during the time when Black people were not in power. But at least things were not destroyed just like that. Because when you destroy a clinic, when you destroy a hospital, it means it's sort of in a roundabout way, you are destroying the people. Because tell me, when you think, if you destroy, if let's go, I'm here where I live now, there's a local hospital which caters for all sorts, cancer, diabetes, whatever ailments that we have in 2026. If someone goes and bomb it and bomb another one, next city, what is the aim? So it means the people who are sick like me, the people who are going to be sick, the people who are injured, the people who are going to face any sort of anything that needs, it means they've got nowhere to go. So if they've got nowhere to go, they're going to die from their wounds, they're going to die from their illness, they're going to die from all sorts. So it means the aim, even if it's not clearly stated, the aim is to just let people die. And I don't see why we then say we care. Because if you say I'm pro-life or I care for human beings, who do you care? Who does your care refer to? Because if you destroy infrastructure that will make people's lives better, health-wise, mentally, physically, but you go and destroy those areas, then it means you are destroying those people. In like as I say, you, instead of just saying, okay, we are going to group you all here and we're just going to bomb you, you are just doing it. You are killing them, but maybe in a more painful way. Because imagine you've got cancer, you are lacking medication for chemotherapy, whatever. Then it means you're going to die slowly in pain. Because I do not see any reason why, if we are fighting a war for whatever reason, then we come and destroy infrastructure that supports civilians. Just tell me, just explain to me why anyone would do that. Because I do not see why it has to go that far. Unless you really want to do a complete sort of destroying people. And I know it, again, I always like to liken to the situations from where I come from, when we were treated like we were the ones who had started the war, when we were in our own country, on our own land, and then people came in and just attacked us anyway. I heard my mother saying, when the war first started, the Rhodesian forces who were fighting against the local people, whom they called the terrorists or guerrillas or whatever they wanted to call them, they used to poison sort of wells where people would get water. They would put like anthrax powder, and people would get anthrax. And of course, if you get anthrax and you don't get treated, you die. But they did it. I don't think they did it in a prolonged way, and maybe they did it towards the end of the war, when they could see that they were actually losing on just fighting, as it was guerrilla warfare. They were fighting. So when they realized they were losing, they started doing these tactics. But if you do something like that, clearly it's no longer warfare, as in, okay, we are fighting. Because I don't think at any point war is supposed to just, you go in a country, you just destroy everyone in that country. What is your purpose then? So if you poison wells where people are gonna drink water, where little children, wives, whatever, are going to drink, because mostly in war, women are the ones who are at home with children, with the elderly. Most men of fighting age will be in war. So when you poison wells, you're trying to kill everyone. You're already fighting the men anyway and the boys. But if you poison the wells, it's the children. So that's no longer war. That's a war crime. And when I see this happening in 2026, I just think, at what point do we say we care? As the world is, religious people of any creed, whichever religion you believe in, I do not think seeing people going after structures that are going to support civilians, unless you say we are going to destroy this group of people, we want them gone completely, wiped off completely, then maybe you can justify it. But if you really are sort of saying we are going in this country because it becomes very difficult. And I don't see enough anger or enough rage from people who have the power, because there are so many people who are saying this. There are activists out there. There are people who are saying there are a lot of anger from maybe the younger generation saying, hang on a minute, why is this happening? But those with power, those who can actually stop this, I don't see what they are doing. We're just going on as if nothing is happening. And again, what's happening in Lebanon, it's more or less the same as we see before, because it's like when I see a building like ground to the ground, nothing, like a ruble, nothing. Why? So where do you want those people to go to? What do you want those people to eat? And where are they going to get water? So why? And I explain to me, because if you say, I am going after Zimbabwe, I want to kill everyone in Zimbabwe and I'm going to do it, then maybe then. But if you say, well, actually, I'm trying to protect myself, but I'm just going to also kill women, children, destroy buildings, destroy schools, destroy universities, destroy hospitals, kill doctors, and it's no longer defending yourself. It's now more than really people, really, honestly, because it has to be it has to be left at a human level of caring about life. Life is precious. Life is precious for all of us. We cry when we lose relatives, loved ones, because we know we're never going to see them again. So I think we all agree that life is important, and at no point would I say, oh, actually the Zimbabwean life is more important than the South African life. Life is life. Whether you're brown, black, or whatever color, life is important. And it should not be something that we can just easily just take away. And hear me. Taking away life does not mean just going and shooting or bombing. Yes, that is the very definition of it, because it happens immediately. But the one of destroying hospitals, the one of destroying anything that supports life, is really, it's scary. The one of destroying anything that supports life, it's scary, because you are bombing, the people that are going to be injured, you are taking away their chance of survival. Even for food, you're taking people's chance of eating, because you are in a war, you're walking, you're running, you're dodging bombs, and you've got no food. How does that work? So it's like, in your mind, or at the back of your, I don't know, somewhere, you know what you're doing. I'm just going to destroy this group of people. And it's not direct, but hear me as I said, I rely on medication. I have to have blood tests done. I have to have so many things done in order to be able to manage, being alive. And if any of these things are taken away, then it means I'll just die. Eventually, not even a quick death. It will be an eventual death because of the lack of maintaining whatever is being maintained in my body. So indirectly, I could be killed by that action. Yeah, it may not be immediate, like they are bombing or they put a bullet on me, but literally, essentially, they've actually killed me in the process of destroying that hospital. So let's be clear. We know that there are people who argue otherwise. There are people who would say, no, There are people who will be saying all sorts. And I'm not here to for somebody or against somebody. I'm here just for humanity. Life. As an ill person, someone who is ill, someone who uses a wheelchair, I know how it feels to fear death. I know how it feels. Like on daily basis, I go to bed. I say, tomorrow am I gonna wake up alive? Even with the medication, how long am I gonna live? Am I gonna even 10, 50? Am I even gonna, so to just know that someone is not allowing someone to have food, which is key to being alive, medication, water. If those people are taken from people, either by this explanation or that explanation or whatever, it's still bad. Because whatever explanation you have, the fact is people still die. So even if they say, I did not allow them to have food because of A, B, C, D. The truth is, yeah, but what are you aiming for? Because if someone does not eat, they will die. If someone does not have diabetes medication, they're going to die. If someone has got a shrapnel lodged on their stomach and there's no hospital to take it out, gangrene, and then they will die. So you know what you're doing. So it's very difficult for me to say the world cares. At this moment, I feel like people only care. There are some who care. I'm not saying everyone does not care. But the ones with power, the ones who can actually say, stop, enough of this, they are not doing that. They are not saying that. So what I can say is just you are also an enabler, because you are enabling death that could be avoided, suffering that could be avoided, starvation that could be avoided, destruction that could be avoided. Imagine seeing your city going nothing, flat out. And then when is it gonna be rebuilt? What's gonna be happening to children who would not be otherwise going to school or being supported in any other way? Because these children will need mental health. Adults have PTSD when they go to war and shoot. How about the little kiddies who are running away daily basis, having to look for food, having to look for water, having legs chopped? They need rehabilitation. Where is it going to be done if hospitals are being wiped out completely? What sort of care is this? What sort of world is this where we just do not care about the children, all the kids who are born or who are born and who are experiencing this? Do they not matter? The elderly who are seeing this, the elderly who are even looking after these little children because their daughter-in-laws or granddaughters or whatever, or sons, they are either in prison or they are trying to fight or protect, or they are actually killed. Do we even care? Do we care? You can't care for your own people and then say you care. You can't say, I am a Christian, I only care for Christian people. When God says in the Bible, the rain does not rain to the righteous, it rains for everyone. Even evil people get blessings. They move on, they've got stuff. Who are we even to play God? To say this group only matter, but this one does not matter. We really need to think, and honestly, those with power to stop the madness that is going on, they do have to stop it. They do have to stop it. This is not fair, and this is not right for the people who are denied food, medication, and even the right to live and exist in their own country. I would not have wanted someone to come and take over Zimbabwe. I was not born when it started, but I would have fought. I would have joined those people. Because why would you want me to bow down to you in my own country? Why? I would have joined. Obviously, maybe I'm saying it because I'm not in that situation, but I just think, why would you want to do that? What right do you have to say, actually, I'm going to help you take out your leader? Unless I say, please come and help me. But if I haven't, I don't want you to help me. I want to fix my own problem. I made my mother-in-law laugh when I said, it's like asking, you're having problems with your husband, and you ask another man, just a random man, come and help me deal with my husband. I don't want to. I would want to deal with my own issues. If I'm not happy, I would want to deal with them myself. And sometimes it's nice to sort of, we are calling the international community to come and help us, or we are calling this country to come and help us. Sometimes what you wish for can actually tend to be an invitation to take over. Yeah, take over. I do not want to go into history more because I like to draw comparisons from my country, because I know when the settlers or the missionaries or whatever, they came to Zimbabwe, they didn't come saying we are coming to take over your minerals, your land, everything. They didn't say that. They came in like good people with good intentions. And the kings and of that time had to kind of know that, oh my God, the people that I was even giving, even one of the kings, Lobengula, he pegged a lot of gold that he wanted to give to Queen Victoria to say, as leaders of countries, we should understand. And he was duped because he thought he was talking to these missionaries. They're gonna go to Victoria and say, the king of Matebeleland, the king of the Ndebeles, would want to have a conversation with you, monarch to monarch, and then try to understand what was going on, where the miscommunication was. But it didn't end up like that. It was a clear takeover. So there is no way you can really say a country would have really vested interest in solving another country's problems. Because let's look at it. Let's look at what America is at the moment. Where America is at the moment. I wouldn't want to be in America at the moment. Hell no. No. But they are quick to say they want to go and solve all the Middle East problem. They want to take out the Ayatollah. They want to make sure there's democracy in Iran. They want to make sure that they've done what exactly with all the mess that is in America at the moment. What exactly? Plus, what? If I talk of democracy in America, at the moment in 2026, oh my God, I don't see democracy. I just see a wannabe emperor, a wannabe dictator who's trying so hard. I'd say an emperor because of this, going out and about trying to solve this country, but not actually solving, and then solve this country actually. Oh no, we have solved eight wars. I've ended 8 wars, but no. So forget all that, but we're going to go and solve Iran's problems. How about yours? Have you dealt with all the people who cannot afford Medicaid, or the people who are on food stamps? Or, have you? It's just that maybe people behave in different ways. We saw what happened in Minnesota. The death of those two white people. Never mind the black and brown, we've been dying because we know that what made it so it was because of the Pretty and Renee Good. So that was not a happy community. When I see the No-Match Kings, that's not a country that has got happy people. So if you are to say, well, in Iran, they oppress their people, we need to sort them out. Have you sorted your own issues? And we know that people say these things. The problem with propaganda is people always throw things that aren't true. One gets an idea, they explode it so that they can bring up their cause to life, Because if you don't have something to go by, people will be like, what are you doing? So you have to actually pump up something. And unfortunately, some of the local people were like, well, come in, come in, help us here. Now I'm not sure they are still saying the same thing. Because when you invite a monster, when you poke a bear, when you invite a monster in your house, sometimes it's difficult to chase that monster out. It's difficult to say, Mr. Monster, I think we are done. Maybe it's time to leave. No. They do not leave. And also, the other thing is, if you invite a monster that already had a warped mind, because remember, it's a monster, you invite it in your house, they're going to look for more other things that they may actually get out with. They may say, we'll come to help you, but it's like a mafia thing. The mafias, if you get involved in that, they don't help you for nothing. The mafia will look good, smile at you. They'll say, they shouldn't treat you like that. Let me deal with them. But tomorrow they'll come you with a favor to say, I'm going to rob a bank. Can you drive the car? Because last time, I remember, I'm not saying I know a lot about mafia, but I'm just giving an example from what I've read and, maybe a bit of watching Godfather or the other mafia. All I'm saying is some of these people, they do not do, no one does anything for free. No one. Even people say, oh, we'll come and help. We are very much, they'll always want something. Iran is a rich country. Oil, uranium, all sorts, you name it. Things that are like envied by the billionaires, by all the other people who are doing whatever they're doing. So, of course, they're going to come in and want something. Even if they help you, they'll help you with a price. And I do not think it's a price maybe that maybe countries should be able to want to pay. Because we see it in Africa. Africa is rich, but most African countries are manipulated, minerals, whatever, are taken out. Because someone did a little tiny favor like this. Small. But they go out with so many things. So it's very painful to see what happened. And all I say is, if we say we care about, if we are pro-life, because I hear it's quite a lot pro-life, we don't want this. Life is life. You cannot choose between what you are proing for. We cannot choose who you care for. If you care for human life or humanity, you care for everyone. Black, brown, white, whatever. But are we seeing care? Or we are just seeing distraction, unnecessary distraction? It makes me angry when I see those little girls, children dying. When I see the elderly, I saw an old man looking confused, scared. When I see those women running, looking for food. Innocent people killed. 14-year-olds being killed because apparently they could be associated with Hamas or Hezbollah. 14-year-olds, 12-year-olds. It's no longer war. If you think a 12-year can be a Hezbollah, so you just kill them. It's no longer war. It's something else. I don't have a name for it. And some of it is things that are said without even evidence. It's just, I think we thought. You thought. But what about the life you've actually taken out? Weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. People have forgotten, Iraq is full of weapons of mass destruction. Oh, I'm sorry, there wasn't anything like that. Yeah, we made a mistake. What about the life lost? The people suffering from PTSD? The people who are messed up, whose life has been messed up? What do you say?